Saving money feels safe, it feels responsible, it feels like you're doing the right thing. But what if the habit you trust the most is quietly keeping you stuck? Not poor overnight, but slowly over time, in a way that's so subtle you don't even notice it happening. What if saving money isn't the solution, but the illusion that's holding you back? Why do people who save consistently still struggle financially? And why does it feel like no matter how much you save, it's never enough? And what is the one shift that separates people who save from people who actually build wealth? Because the difference is not effort, it's awareness. If you want to understand how money really works, subscribe to Saul Invest. At first, saving feels powerful. You check your balance and it's growing, and that feels good, safe, and controlled. It gives you a sense of progress, like you're moving in the right direction, like your future is becoming more secure with every dollar you set aside. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. Saving gives you emotional comfort, not financial progress. It creates the feeling of control, but not the reality of growth. It makes you believe you're moving forward, even when in reality you're standing still. This is where most people get stuck. Not because they are lazy, not because they don't work hard, but because they mistake stability for progress. And over time, that misunderstanding becomes the biggest barrier between them and real wealth. Here's the uncomfortable truth. In 2026, saving money is not neutral, it's negative. Because while your money sits in one place, everything else in the world keeps moving forward. Prices rise, rent increases, food becomes more expensive. Subscriptions quietly stack up in the background, and slowly, without warning, your money starts to lose its power. You're not losing money physically, your balance might even look bigger, but your purchasing power is shrinking. You can buy less with the same amount, and that difference, that invisible gap, is what slowly pushes you behind. This is inflation, and it's one of the most misunderstood forces in personal finance. It doesn't crash your bank account overnight, it slowly erodes it over time. And because it's not dramatic, most people ignore it until they feel the pressure years later. Saving money without growth is silent loss. The longer your money sits without increasing, the more it loses its ability to help you move forward. But this is only part of the story. Because the real issue is not just inflation, it's how the entire system around money actually works. The system is not designed for savers, it's designed for movers. Banks don't just store your money, they use it to generate more money. Businesses don't hold money, they multiply it. Investors don't wait, they act, they move, they take calculated risks. The entire system rewards action, not caution. It rewards those who move money, not those who hold it. And when you only save, you step out of that system. Without realizing it, you remove yourself from the part of the economy where growth actually happens. When you step out, you don't crash, you don't fail, you just slowly fall behind. And that's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't feel like a problem at first. It feels safe, it feels stable, it feels controlled. But over time, that safety turns into stagnation. Now imagine someone earning $70,000 a year. They are disciplined, they save every month, they avoid risk, they avoid investing, they avoid making mistakes. On the surface, everything looks right. After 5 years, they look at their savings and feel proud. They did what they were told. They stayed consistent, they stayed safe. But something feels off. Because despite all that effort, they're not ahead. They're not financially free. They're not building real wealth. Now compare that to someone with the same income, the same starting point, the same opportunities. But instead of only saving, they decide to learn. They start investing small amounts, they take controlled risks, they make mistakes, but they keep going. At first, the difference is small, almost invisible. But over time, that difference compounds. One person is protecting money, the other is growing it. One is standing still, the other is moving forward. Same income, same effort, completely different future. Now here's where everything changes. Wealth is not built by saving, it's built by decision-making. It's built by how you use your money, not just how you store it. Savers protect money, builders grow it. And this shift is not just financial, it's psychological. This is no longer about money, it's about identity. Are you someone who protects what you have or someone who builds something bigger? Because once you become a builder, everything changes. You stop seeing money as something to hold and start seeing it as something to use, something to move, something to grow. Here's a simple way to understand it. Saving money is like parking a car. It stays safe, it doesn't get damaged, but it also doesn't go anywhere. It just sits there. Investing is like driving. There's movement, there's risk, but there's also direction. It takes you somewhere, it creates progress. And staying parked too long, even if it feels safe, eventually keeps you stuck in the same place. So what can you actually do to change this? First, keep saving, but don't stop there. Saving is still important, but it should not be your final step. It's your starting point, not your strategy. Second, start investing as early as possible. Time is one of the most powerful factors in building wealth. The earlier you start, the more your money has the chance to grow. Third, focus on assets. Things that increase in value over time, things that generate income, things that work for you even when you're not working. Fourth, accept controlled risk. Avoiding all risk might feel safe, but it guarantees no growth. The key is not to avoid risk, but to understand it and manage it. Fifth, think long-term. Most people focus too much on short-term safety and ignore long-term consequences. But real wealth is built slowly, through consistent decisions over time. If this is helping you see money differently, subscribe to Saul Invest, because understanding this early can completely change your future. Here's the truth. Saving money feels safe, but safety without growth leads to stagnation. You don't build wealth by holding money, you build it by growing it. And if you keep playing safe in a system that rewards movement, you will stay exactly where you are, no matter how hard you try. But the moment you start thinking differently, the moment you understand how money actually works, everything begins to change. Your mindset changes, your decisions change, your results change, and if you don't want to stay stuck in a system that quietly keeps most people behind, subscribe to Saul Invest, because the sooner you understand money, the sooner your future starts changing.